Hey guys, it's Cyrus of Chaos. I'm here today with Lee Kiefer, and we're going to be watching this bout between Eleanor Harvey and Alice Volpi from the semifinals of the Incheon Grand Prix last weekend, which Lee actually ended up winning. So this bout is really interesting because Alice is really good at finding the target and finishing, and Eleanor's main strength is that she is just impossible to hit. So it's kind of an interesting matchup on paper because it kind of depends on how strong Volpe's attack is versus how strong Eleanor's defense is. So it will definitely be an interesting bout to watch. I'm going to hand this off to Lee Kiefer to give us a little bit of an intro to herself and the athletes. So Lee, take it away.
Hi, I'm Lee. I've been fencing for forever. I've had the pleasure of watching these women have an incredible season. They've been on the podium almost every single competition with just beautiful fencing.
Wait, Volpe won 3 World Cups this season, didn't she?
She did, yes. And I think this was Eleanor's 3rd podium, which is amazing this season. And I believe have fenced each other a lot of times, and it's always tough, always intense.
Do you know who usually wins this matchup?
My guess is that Volpe might have a few more wins, but I know that they're always close.
Gotcha. So on that note, we are going to start.
And I believe last time they fenced, Volpe was the winner.
Okay.
So Eleanor wants this. She wants it real bad. So this is a pretty standard start. Eleanor working very hard on defense, Alice pushing, and then both of them on the blade. So that is not normal. Eleanor going for the tack right away is definitely a newer aspect of her fencing.
I think I read in maybe an Instagram post that she was really working more on her offense these days.
She has an amazing offense. Her attack is so long, and she's able to feel the other person's blade and just like weave around that, as well as find, the target, including the back. So yes, she should definitely attack more.
Oh, nice. That was a good kind of squirmy defense, and
just great angles, closed her out.
Yeah, and she going into this tournament was number 6 in the world. And if you're number 6 in the world, you're going to have a pretty strong all-around game. And so when we say that, like, her attack is not that good, it's compared to her, like, phenomenal defense, basically. So not that good doesn't mean not that good in this situation.
Yeah, so in this touch, Alice pushed her down. You're going to want to do that because Eleanor has such a long reach and solid defense. So getting her to the end and being patient to look for the blade
takes away a lot of her options.
Exactly. So that was a really nice touch.
Yeah. Volpe is very confident flicking, and there you see she nails her on the shoulder, which is not an easy target to hit.
Yes. One thing that she does really well is she's able to go short and long. So
she Volpe?
Yeah, for Volpe. So you'll see her. She'll be able to take the blade and go fishing, flick all the way around, full arm extension. But she also can take it short, do disengages. And so it makes it really hard for her opponent to gauge, what distance, where to close out.
That was a crazy little parry battle. I always feel disappointed when one of these like really cool situations ends in an off target. I feel like I was robbed of something really cool.
Right? So much energy is expended.
Yeah. Wow, that was nice. Good defense from both of them.
I like how you appreciate a good off target.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sign that you're making yourself really hard to hit. Ooh!
That was really nice. So Alicia again, she was looking for the blade on the approach to try to get closer to Eleanor, and Eleanor found that moment to stop hit her. Really athletic.
That did not... Alicia's attack did not miss by much. Let's see... Like, let's really slow it down. Do you see the space between, like, the shoulder and the blade?
Yeah, it was pretty close.
That was super nice. We're gonna get an ad in 2 seconds, but during that period of time, I just want to say that one thing that's really interesting about foil specifically is that somebody pointed this out to me. Foil is the only weapon where, because the arm is not target, you can hit valid target on your opponent if you have longer arms, and they will not be able to hit you back. So if you have those long arms like Harvey does, it's important to use them to really it's important to use them to really set the distance, because if you can hit your opponent when they can't hit you, that's the safest way to score a touch. So having the ability to do that is really important, especially if you take advantage of it.
Yeah, I would say that is a strength for a lot of the taller fencers, but it becomes a little bit of an Achilles tendon if you're tired and you're trying to use that. A lot of times people will end up reaching you. So being disciplined with your long arms is so huge, especially at the senior level.
Actually, two of the people who I can think of just right off the bat in both women's and men's foil that use that the most are Italians. Bettini and Marini both have long arms, and they really use them a lot.
Yes, they are very effective. But a lot of it, too, is not just your height. It's about the timing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to stop hit people, and you wouldn't expect it just because I'm 5'4". But like adding that into your counterattack reservoir, confuses people.
Yeah, because when you're only doing one thing, like step in or step out counterattack, it's just the only thing that the person is thinking about. But adding both in, suddenly you have another variable to consider. Is the person going forward, or is the person going to go backwards when they hit me? And that really changes the way that you need to prepare to attack them.
Exactly.
Oh, nice short attack.
That was a nice approach, good target, underarm.
Yeah, I like that she isn't waiting too much for Harvey, and here she gets like a little bit, or Harvey gets like a little close to her, and she just finishes.
Right. I would be surprised that Eleanor went in that moment unless she got the blade. So I don't know. My screen's a little bit blurry.
Yeah, let me go back and I'm watching it on mute. So let me see if I can hear the blade contact. I still didn't hear any blade contact, but it's possible. I'm not sure.
It's possible.
You said you would be surprised that she went there. Why did you think Volpi was like super? Well, I mean, she obviously was super ready, but did you think she appeared super ready in that moment?
Well, I felt Eleanor was working hard on her defense, and she had a lot of space to go backwards still.
Oh, you know what? She definitely did get the blade.
Yeah. I thought I remembered that from real time, to be honest.
Good memory. Yeah, that's not a very good replay. Though I've been pleasantly surprised, quite honestly, with the good timing for Volpi to actually finish with this stop hit. I've been pleasantly surprised recently how infrequently the FIE has been missing touches because of replays. And I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm going to knock on wood right now, but...
And there are replays that show, like, the back of the fencer,
yeah,
too.
Nothing helpful. Ooh, great angle. But again, Harvey got the blade there.
Yeah. Yeah, Alice, again, she's really good finishing all distances, all targets.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's definitely trying to pick up the blade and work the second intention at the end of the strip. Like that. Beautiful.
And that was just a pure reaction, too, because she got her blade taken, was really close, and just kind of saved herself. But that was a really nice...
Yeah, most people can't riposte from that distance like that. So that goes back to her being able to do the short and the long finish and mix them really well.
Yeah. It's really impressive to be dangerous from, like, all distances, all angles. I forget who told me this once. Somebody at Columbia told me that fencing Garrick feels like you're surrounded because you can just get hit anywhere at any time. And watching Volpi fence, it kind of reminds me of him saying that. And
yeah, like you just don't feel safe. There's never a moment of comfort where you can just relax and look. You have to be working.
And that's such a compliment to like whichever athlete you're talking about in that situation, be it Volpi or Garrick. Like that's a really cool effect to have on the other person.
Yeah, I mean, all of them amazing athletes. Their results speak for themselves.
That was a really good angle by Eleanor this time. So when she started this attack, I thought she was getting too close to be able to finish well, but like you said, she found the back so expertly there, I guess.
Yeah, she might have even caught her blade on her guard. That was a nice finish.
Yeah, that was a really nice finish. She definitely caught the blade on the guard.
Yeah, so that was smart. She's been going back a lot, so to go back but then go in pretty hard and confidently was a nice change.
Woo!
I don't even know what happened there.
I'm not sure either. The problem is, from the distance that the camera is from the strip, you can't really hear the blade sound. So even when I have the volume on, like it looks like she tried to step in there and take the blade, but I'm not sure if she got it. And then she kind of hit her, like, very low. So she hit her, like, below the abdomen even.
Yeah. One of those touches where it makes you so excited that you won the random contest.
the infighting lottery.
Exactly.
This actually is a really good replay for this specific angle. So let's see. Yeah, you can see exactly where the hit happened.
Yeah, so she was able to hit her on her parry.
It was like the last millisecond before Volpi parried her. Like, hit and then parry like one frame later on the video.
Yeah, her blade whipped kind of upside down.
Yeah.
And was able to go through.
So, it's interesting. I just thought about this. You only ever flick in, like, the downward angle. Would it be possible to do, like, an upward flick, or are people just not strong enough to get that consistently? Do you know what I mean? Like,
not exactly.
So when you're flicking, it's almost like you're always pointing down with your wrist, like away from your thumb. But would it be possible to flick upward, like in the thumb direction? Or do you just not have like the physical strength to be able to do that consistently?
I'm not sure, to be honest, if it's like the strength or if it's just the angle doesn't necessarily make as much sense.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't make as much sense. I've never thought about that before until you just mentioned that a second ago. All right, anyway.
No, it's definitely an interesting thought. Flicking on the flank is very common, not just the shoulder or the chest.
Ooh. A lot of these actions have been happening from very close distance.
Yeah, I feel like this is a
Nice
bout
touch
of
again.
people who have fenced each other multiple times this season, and they both have a pretty solid game plan of what they want to do.
I think this is the 3rd out of 6 touches that Harvey has scored on Volpi's back.
Yes, that was a very nice repost. Eleanor also is doing a great job of keeping her arm short or extending it and reaching for the target.
It even looks here like Volpi's trying to protect her back more, and Eleanor still hits her there.
Yeah. Sometimes you know it's coming and you can't do anything about it.
That's another sign of someone who's really confident in what they're doing. Parapose, no remise is off target. Eleanor is having a field day with Volpi's blade this bout.
Yeah, so she's really good at picking up that 6. I often get hit on that too, on the approach. And I think maybe Alice can do a little bit more like release with her approach, and that'll give her some more space to get the blade back and just make it a little bit more challenging for Eleanor to have that moment. Little push and pull. There's a lot of push happening right now.
Something interesting that you just said. You just said 2 really interesting things. The first thing is that you said Harvey has a really good 6, and you can see that the first couple times she goes for it here, Volpi is expecting that, but here she almost is like disengaging.
She got him 4.
Yeah, exactly. But this time Volpi, I think, is trying to disengage in the 6th direction, and Eleanor goes the opposite way and just taps her in 4. So maybe she also is expecting like a lot of 6s, because here you can see she's moving in the way that she's expecting another 6 and gets caught in the opposite direction. So that's kind of like what you and I were saying before about how you don't want to just counterattack by going in, or you don't just want to counterattack by going out. This is like too many circles in 6, so 1 circle in 4 kind of adds another variable that was really hard for her to anticipate.
Yeah, that's a good observation. That was definitely a good change. And of course, these are top level fencers, so you're going to see them pulling out all the different parries, all the different distances and timing. But we still got our tendencies.
Yes, everyone has the things they like to do, the things they feel more comfortable doing. But yeah, it's good to mix in the like diametrically opposing action every once in a while, just to give the other person more that they have to anticipate. And then the other thing that you said, which was really interesting, is that Volpi is pushing too aggressively, and if sometimes she just released that pressure a little bit, it might give her more, not just distance and time to see, but like more options in that situation.
Yeah, and I'm also a big proponent of there are many different ways to score in like a situation. So like she's pushing really hard and she's looking for the blade. She could, I think, finish a little sooner sometimes, or she could release a little bit more. So she definitely has options. But just considering the progression of the bout right now, that is just my recommendation.
And one of my observations about Volpi is I think a lot of foil fencers have no problem. Like, they develop an attack, but then they just kind of let it go. Volpi seems like she doesn't really like to do that. She seems like she just wants to finish all of her attacks. Because there aren't a whole lot of times in this bout when she's been going forward and just decided to stop and go backwards, like you were saying before.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to have, you know, the patient approach, especially all the way to the end. So it does make sense to want to do something with it too, rather than like restart.
Yeah.
But she's also a queen of like playing too. Like when she feels it, she can score 15 touches all in different types of ways.
That's interesting. And there we actually see the thing that I was just talking about. Harvey's moving forward, and she just kind of stops right there. No problem throwing away an attack. No problem just missing.
Yeah, and that's part of her game, is to do a lot of second, third, fourth intention. And going back to it earlier, that allows her to utilize her height, throw in the stop hit, and mix that in with her quick repost.
Ooh, nice finish.
So that was really nice. So fast acceleration, like everyone's going to want to counterattack into that. And then keeping your arm nice and tight by your body allows you to find that target.
Good replay. Volpi even disengaged from like that close. That's crazy.
Yeah, she has such nice control.
So there was like not only the disengage, but she pulls her arm back to be able to find that target here. Wow.
Yeah, so this is a really nice action and nice change up.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Like anyone, that could bait anyone into counterattacking.
And still being able to finish there, that's really impressive. Again, almost exact same action. Pull back, run, and then just be able to finish to that target.
Yep, same target too. It's so fast though. Like she didn't take time to, set up and like move to give Eleanor a chance to think. She just went for it, which makes it a really smart action.
Mm-hmm.
Nice preparation.
Yeah. I really like that she showed low and then disengaged around the blade. Like, anticipating a fourth.
And this isn't an action she's done in the bout, too. So it's definitely confusing as a fencer, creating some doubt.
Another new variable, like we've been talking about. Ooh, that just missed, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think Eleanor had the timing.
If this had been two lights and there was no blade contact, would this be called attack and preparation in foil?
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think she pulled at a moment that gave Eleanor the right of way.
Look at how solidly Volpi hits her on the back. Like, the blade is bending and she's being hit, like, on the lower part of her back.
Yeah, that's an awesome... I wish there was a picture for that.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. Woo!
See, there's a really nice long attack. So again, something...
That also was kind of new.
That she hasn't done in this bout yet. Especially with the timing. So didn't give Eleanor a chance to kind of work going backwards. Very fast.
Yeah. That's attack left, right?
I need to watch it again.
In Saber, this would be attack left, so I'm watching this with, like, the Saber mindset.
Yes. I think they started the same, but then I thought Eleanor got her arm out a little bit sooner.
Something I've observed over, like, watching fencing for a really long time is foil trends seem to follow Saber trends by, like, about 2 seasons. And a few seasons ago, the attack was, like, really tight. So I'm trying to go back in time and just remember, like, what that was like so I can try to ref similarly here. Yeah, you can definitely see Eleanor's extending a tiny bit first, although that's a tight call, but
close. And also the fact that Alice is going for the shoulder and Eleanor is going for the chest and her blade's in front. Like, a lot of it is the view that's interesting.
I did not think about the actual target that you'd be selecting. That makes sense. Something I think
Like,
that
there's a lot of calls where it looks like someone's counterattacking or closing out when really they're just
trying to
finding
hit a different
target.
angle. Yeah, makes sense. Something that a lot of people don't appreciate, especially when watching from like the experience of a different weapon, is certain things that are easy in their own weapon might be really difficult in another weapon, or certain things that might be really difficult in your own weapon might be really easy in another one, and you don't really have the appreciation for that. And so for me, I until you just said it, I didn't consider the actual like selection of target to be a factor in like how you have to judge the way they're hitting each other. But that makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah, you definitely have way better perspective than most people watching all the weapons.
that's good. I mean, I do try to watch all of them a lot. And I've fenced foil before, too. I've actually fenced your sister before.
I remember she told me you tried to flick her a bunch.
I actually did flick her a bunch.
So attack right.
I'm
Again, she's keeping her arm back.
I'm wondering
able to go around her blade and finish to her chest.
I'm wondering what Eleanor was trying to do here, because this just looks like maybe she thought that that was a stop. I think that's what it must have been. She thought that that was a stop.
Yeah, and there's also a moment like Volpe could bring it around up over her chest, and then she would have been able to close her out too. But Volpe kept it pretty short.
Yeah. So this is interesting here because she clearly thought that Volpe stopped, and she looked like she was getting ready to argue, but when she talked to her coach, he was like, nope, that call was correct, and she immediately was like, okay, touche. A lot of people would be very stubborn there and like maybe even ask for a replay, but it takes a lot of discipline and trust in your coach to trust your coach, especially in like this point of the bout. Like every touch is really important. You feel something, but your coach tells you like that's not correct. You're like, all right, just let it go and move on.
Yeah, that is definitely an experienced level head move.
For sure.
Can't say that I can channel that most times.
And one of the rare times they'll fence until like the last second of the period. So, Lee Kiefer, what advice would you give to each of these two people going into this very even second period?
Yes. So I feel like Volpe is drawing Eleanor out more. I often see this like after, the first half of the first period, she kind of makes her actions more convincing, like how she was accelerating and finishing short, getting Eleanor to be a little reactive. And I think Eleanor just needs to be confident mixing her actions. So create that doubt in Volpe and be able to catch her, whether that's with her quick six or stepping in.
And for Volpe?
Like I said, I just think she needs to be confident and like pretty decisive. So like draw her out, get Eleanor to react when she wants her to react.
That has certainly been working well for her.
It's a little bit of a discipline game.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little scary too, right? Because you have someone who's so good at stopping incoming attacks, but you need to be able to draw that and like have the confidence to be able to react in such a short period of time when you do get what you want and be able to finish.
Yeah, and then Eleanor throws in that surprise long attack. So just like being ready, like keeping your blade up. Like I do this all the time where I see someone launching their long attack and I just try to get away with my legs, and then like they barely hit me and finish, and I'm like, well, shoot.
Yeah.
I think attack left.
I think so too. This was the reprise thing I was talking about with you in the previous bout, where like they both stop, but you can clearly see that Harvey's feet are moving first.
Yes.
And like I said,
did a similar thing where they did a half step with their back foot, but Eleanor definitely started sooner.
And I think in addition to that, especially from this replay, you can see not only is she starting slightly ahead, but she's definitely selling this better. Like Volpe kind of goes up and finishes, but Harvey is just going straight forward. Like, just looking at this now, it looks more like Eleanor's attacking here than Volpi is. And a lot of the time, it's just about how you make it look.
Yeah, and I think Eleanor caught her a little bit off guard, like being assertive right from the beginning. So it was a smart, strategic move.
And the verdict is... yep, call stands.
Yeah, no one's arguing about it.
Another really aggressive push. Ooh! That's one of those times when, like you were saying, she probably would benefit a little from just releasing the pressure slightly.
Yeah, I feel like, though, she got her all the way to the end, and her tip was a little bit high, and Eleanor counterattacked a little differently than she had been, but I don't think it was necessarily a bad idea, because she got Eleanor to react when she wanted her to.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And you can see the flick she chose was almost like a shoulder back flick, but it just barely missed.
Yeah. It was a good close on Eleanor's part.
That would also be like a really strong statement that, like, I started my attack all the way over here, was really aggressive about it, and finished on you on the back line. Like, you're not really safe anywhere from this. But you have to hit for that statement to land.
And a lot of times, like, when I miss or don't score, I'm like, I liked my idea, and it was almost right there. And I can execute it just slightly different, or not even that different next time and score.
I think that is so true, and something that I try to teach my kids a lot is, before you decide what action you want to do next, you need to decide whether the action that you just did failed because it was a bad idea or bad execution. And then you choose, like, if it was bad execution, you can do something very similar. You just need to make sure that the finish is a little cleaner, or, you know, just you're executing a little better. Whereas if it was a bad idea, you need to totally change the setup for the action. But if you think that was a good idea and just, like, barely missed the execution, you could do the same action again, just make sure that the finish is a little bit better.
Definitely. And you see a lot of top-level fencers who will start the bout, like, down 5-0, and they are just making all of these micro adjustments, and, you know, they can then win 15-5.
Yeah, it happens for sure. I've seen that happen. I almost try to treat my opponents like a puzzle, and in the beginning you're getting information that you can use to solve that puzzle.
Definitely.
Here Harvey gets the blade, and Volpi gets a quick remise.
Yeah.
I'd be interested afterwards to count, like, how many of the touches in this bout ended with, like, a close infighting action similar to that one.
Yeah, that moment is also a moment I often pick when I fence Eleanor myself. Like, if you feel you're close enough and the blade is coming back and probably going to go on the shoulder, it's going to be really hard for her to finish if you commit to the close.
Interesting. Can you say that again and break it down a little more?
Yeah, so obviously Eleanor has had a lot of success, like, picking up the blade in front and, you know, catching her with that repost. But if Eleanor is not far enough away, she doesn't have the space to repost, especially if she's picking the shoulder. So
okay.
I think that time she looked for the 4, and then that's when Volpi was like, okay, this is my time to go in hard.
I see what you're saying. So because she closed the distance so quickly and Eleanor is aiming for the shoulder/back, it made it difficult for her to do that because she stepped in so aggressively so quickly?
Exactly.
Got it. Okay, back to where we were before. Ooh. Oh, there's that touch again. Running, showing that she's not ready, pulling the arm back, and then just finishing to that target.
Yeah, I feel like big steps aren't always bad steps. And I hear it a lot, like people try to, put a rein in people. But like if she had a small step, like she couldn't have like convinced her, to counterattack at that moment.
I think it depends on what you want to do. And as long as you have intention behind the steps you're taking, then, or really just anything that you're doing, I think that anything can work. Because as long as you're doing something from like the appropriate distance to get the reaction that you want, I don't necessarily think that anything's a bad idea. That like heuristic is mostly just to tell kids that like, oh, you shouldn't take a step that's big because it's hard to maintain your balance and react from that space. But Volpi is taking a big step to get Harvey to counterattack her. And so she's getting exactly what she wants and executing it well. So
definitely. Yeah, intention is a really good word. And then, just having confidence, because you can have intention too, but if you like
can't
hesitate at the last moment, like you just can't finish.
Yeah. That's so true. It's a really good combination of intention, technique, and confidence that allows her to get touches like that.
The trifecta.
The trifecta. That might be a little more left as well. Yep.
Yeah, she's getting her arm out really well. And it's hard to do that against an Italian. They are the masters of the smooth, accelerated arm.
That's interesting. You can definitely tell she just like, in addition to that, is just she's starting her lunge a little bit ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good action. I mean, surprised me right off the line too.
Ooh, great footwork going backwards. Even right there, she goes for the stop cut, and I think her intention was to run away here, but look at how quickly she just gets back right on balance and in her face.
Yeah.
That was great.
Really, really disciplined, strong legs. I love fencing like this, where they're both doing good things. You're like, everyone is awesome.
Yeah, it seems like they're both fencing really well. And a lot of the time, at this point, you either have one person who's fencing well and one person who's fencing or like both people, like you said before, are a little nervous or tired. But it looks like both these guys are fencing really well, have a lot of energy. This is a really good bout.
Agreed.
Ooh!
Oh, she's mad. She's like, that's my touch.
Yeah. Yeah, that is not a happy face.
Yeah. But I would say persistence, again, like we talked about earlier, is important, and it's not always going to be pretty, especially these last touches. You gotta do what it takes.
So, this is kind of interesting. I'm looking at the angle of her arm. I think if she had just flicked from right here, maybe it would have worked. But she almost brings her arm down and then flicks from here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought if she had released it with like a longer arm, she tried to make it short. And it's like, it seems like it was halfway between like trying to flick and then like trying to hit with the point. Like,
that's interesting. Ooh! Oh my god. Why was the halt called there?
who knows? maybe Eleanor dropped her blade. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, actually, that is what happened. She's still holding it, but it kind of like fell out of her hand a little bit. There's that action a fourth time. And then even before that, something I want to point out again is just Volpi's footwork going backwards here. Like, Eleanor makes a pretty strong short attack, and Volpi just kind of effortlessly just takes one step backwards. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's again, a sign of like a lot of confidence considering you're down 13-10 at this pivotal point. And it takes a lot of experience to have that. And then again, like, this is a hard action to hit, and she's just drawing it so well.
That was a good moment. And yeah, she doesn't have to push forward. She's done that attack 3 times from that same spot on the strip.
Ooh! This was the first time
Eleanor was like, nah.
Yeah. Exactly. This is the first time she's done that action where Eleanor decided, like, nope.
There is so much power behind Volpi's attack, and Eleanor is so impressive
to get out of the way of it.
Away.
Woo!
A nice action.
I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't this the first time that Eleanor's just kind of been marching and just finished with the counterattack instead of actually making her own attack?
Yeah, usually when she's in that position, she's kind of doing an attack that's falling short so then that she can start working for the blade. But yeah, Volpi counterattacked really early. I'm not sure why.
Ooh. Volpi's so good at that counter parry from close distance. Eleanor gets the blade. Oh, it's not a counter parry. Never mind. I'm wrong.
Yeah, there's a little bit of missing that happened in that sequence.
I thought she got a 4, but she did not. Nice touch.
That was a nice touch. I feel like that is the touch of her original game plan going into this bout.
Volpi?
Yeah, like draw out Eleanor's... I think it's still like a deep feint. Maybe she's trying to hit, but yeah, getting it late. Grabbing that parry. Yeah, but it's also super tricky spot being up 14, 11, or 12 because you're like, do I go ballsy or risky, or do I just like work and move and let them make a mistake? So often people are trapped in between.
Oh my god. Please keep talking.
Oh no, I'm finished. Yeah, that was a really nice touch.
You're saying people are trapped between those two ideas?
Yes.
Gotcha.
It's like it's a stressful moment.
Oh my god.
Like you're doing good things this whole time, and then like you start to think about it.
I think the worst thing you can think when you get to 14 is just one more touch. And you have to stick with your game plan, and whether you want to do something ballsy and try something like that, or whether you, again, are just like strictly sticking to your game plan. You do have a little bit of wiggle room in 14-11, not that much to take a risk, but again, like the worst thing you can think is I just need one more touch here. Like that's awful.
Yes. Kiss of death. Feeling comfortable.
That was like, again, 3 disengages from this really close backwards like arm position to be able to finish there. That again is crazy to me.
Blade.
Wow.
I just love how they're playing with the distance. Like they're in close, in fighting, and then she like pulls it out. Like it's just so interesting.
Oh, this is the one time during the bout that she's done this action, and it has not gotten her the attack. Oh. Wow.
Wow.
That
Great
bout was fantastic.
Both of them worked, had
Yeah.
great ideas. It was just fun to watch.
A lot of really interesting recurring situations that like one person had a lot of control over, and trying to see how the other person tried to adapt to that situation was really interesting. Because you've got Eleanor controlling that really close distance in the beginning, then Volpi got a little control of it later, and then you have that almost like running from way too close attack, which was not counterattackable until that one touch right there. And then this almost, actually, I'm going to take that back a little bit, because here is the first time I think when so like in the past, Eleanor had been counterattacking like right there, right? But this time she goes back quite a bit farther and lets Volpi chase her more before she counterattacks.
That's true. Because, there were those moments when Eleanor did get away and Volpi really extended her attack. And so, like you said, she kind of caught her halfway in between.
Mm-hmm.
And great moment to finish on.
Yeah. That was really cool. Thank you for watching that with me.
Of course. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Lee, again, thank you for your expertise in this bout and the other one. If you guys only watched this bout, you should also go watch the bout between Scruggs and Budenko, which we talked about. And yeah, again, thank you for your expertise. I'd love to have you back at some point.
Sounds great.
Awesome.